What is up, fam? My name is Vivi, and I am so excited that you are here. But I want to start off with asking if I could just enter your world for a hot second, okay? Let me ask you a question that I know every single one of you has experienced, but I don't know if every single one of you has paused to reflect on it. So here it is. What's the hardest change you've had to go through, okay? Think about it. Now, it'd be so unfair if I asked to enter your world and I didn't let you enter into my world. So I'm gonna share with you my first heartbreak ever, okay? It was one of those scenarios where I have always had my eye on that one. Like, it has always been just a long time coming, but time was just never right. It was like, I'm available, but they're not, or they're available, but I'm not, and it just never worked out. But time came where the stars aligned for fourth grade me and the puppy I had always wanted, okay? So my family and I've been begging, I'm talking begging, like mom, I want a puppy so bad. And finally they budged and they said yes. And we got all the things ready, because this is a big change that's about to happen to my family. We got the dog bed, we got the crate, the food, all the things. And so we go, I even had a name picked out, okay? Her name was Joy. I had a name picked out. This cute little puppy beagle, and we go, we're in the car, we pick up this dog, I'm in the back of the car just like full of joy, get it? Joy. And then 30 minutes into the drive, my parents turned the car around. And we ended up dropping that cute puppy beagle back home. And you guys, I was heartbroken. Like, I'm talking heartbroken. I cried for days and days and days. And I know it may seem like just a small thing, but man, I had some big feels with that. And I don't share that just to share about the heartbreak piece, but something happened that day. My family, they made fun of me. They made fun of me for having these big feelings that I had. They made fun of me for crying over a puppy that I had for 30 minutes. And what changed for me is that I felt like I could never open up to my family ever again. I thought nothing that I can have and feel can be shared with them because they're not safe for me anymore. And listen, not every family is the same. Some of you have two parents and a couple of siblings in your home. Some of you went through stories just like mine. Some of you have a step parent or a single parent. Some of you live with aunts, uncles, tios, you know how it is, grandparents. Some of you may even be a foster family or even with the family of a close friend. But no matter how your family is made up, I think there's one thing that each family has in common, and that's change. And whether that's good change or unwanted change, change of any kind can be hard, right? Even if you get excited by the idea of change, like I sometimes get excited by change, but it still means it's something to get used to. And that requires some effort. Change is just a part of life. And we know that our classes will change next semester, or that even the rules our parents have for us will change, because best believe when I got my license, I could not wait for the new curfew. Or maybe it's that our favorite video game will change once we discover a new one that's even better. But what happens when change happens in your family? You know, we don't always see it coming. And even if it's change that makes your life better, it's still an adjustment. You know, maybe you gained a new person in your family, or maybe it was a step sibling, a new baby, a foster sibling, or a step parent. But no matter who it was, that new person in your home definitely changed things for you. Or maybe someone in your family got sick and suddenly life in your family became all about their health, all about their appointments, and even you would do whatever you could to help what they needed and maybe try to stay out of trouble. And even though you understood the why, it was still a change you had to figure out. And maybe your older sibling who left the house is all of a sudden gone. They went off to college or got married or decided to move in with your mom while you decided to stay with your dad. And just like that, things in your family were different because they aren't a part of your everyday life anymore. Or maybe your family changed because circumstances changed. Your dad got a new job, or you had to move to a new house, or your mom started traveling more for work. You know, some of it was even exciting, but those feelings made you feel like so much of your family was changing. And maybe it was a change that was really painful, similar to the one that I shared in my story. Maybe your parents got divorced or someone passed away. You know, I remember being in 7th grade the day that my mom told me, I have to choose your dad over you. That hurt so bad. And I didn't ask for that, and you probably didn't ask for that change either. And you do just about anything to have things go back to the way they were in your family. But no matter the changes in your family and maybe that you're facing even today, my point is this, that while some changes might be exciting and something you maybe even look forward to, some changes are not always easy. and they don't always make your life better. They're not always something that you would even choose. So if change in our family is something that we can't avoid, then what do we do? How do we handle it when our family changes? The good news is that we have the Bible to give us some amazing advice on just how to get through challenging or even just difficult challenges and changes in our life. If you're experiencing change in your family right now or have experienced it in the past, and even if that's not you, you will experience change in your family one day, I want you to just lean in and remember these 3 important truths: that God is with you, God loves you, and God never changes. I want to say that again, that God is with you, God loves you, and God never changes. If you're going through a really great change in your family, you may feel God's presence in a very real way right now. Maybe you just got adopted into your forever family, or maybe you have a new parent figure in your life who you really actually love and feel supported by. In these moments, it can be easy to feel that God is with us, loves us, and never changes. But when things are changing in our family and it feels hard, what do? I think these truths are especially important to hold on to. It might not make it easy to go through, but I think it can give us some hope to know that we have access to a God who not only never changes, but who wants to be with us in the changes that we face. You see, God knows the changes that we're experiencing, and maybe they're exciting changes, or maybe they're scary changes, or changes that we wish didn't have to happen. No matter the change, God knows how it impacts our families, how it impacts us, and just how we feel. And because of that, God gave us a really great promise to hold on to when we face change. I want you to take a look. Let me show you right here. When you pass through the waters, I will be with you. And when you pass through the rivers, they will not sweep over you. When you walk through the fire, you will not be burned. The flames will not set you ablaze. Okay. So that might seem dramatic at first glance, like passing and rushing waters and rivers. What is that? Walking through fire? No, thank you. But while that may not be what you're actually experiencing when you go through change, let's be honest, it definitely feels like that sometimes. Sometimes we feel like we are just wading through water when it comes with our families. I know I have felt that. I feel like that was my entire up until I turned 18. And it's like we're just ankle deep in the problems and challenging situations. And other times, it feels like the water is rising around us and we have nowhere to go. Then, when the waves start to crash over us, it can feel like we're drowning in the changes and we're facing just all the things with our family. It's so overwhelming. Listen, we can feel totally helpless and completely scared, and I have been there. And so if you're anything like me, you might find yourself wondering where God is in all of this. When change happens, does God even care? Does God care about me? Is God leaving us to just drown in the waters of just change all by ourselves and alone? Well, I want you to think about the first line that I read of the promise from Isaiah just one more time. That God said, I will be with you. I will be with you. No matter what we're going through in our families, no matter how bad it may feel or how scary it seems, God is always with us. God never leaves and never changes. And when a positive change in your family happens, you can remember that God is with you in that too. God is with you as you adjust to that just good change that you might even be excited for. And God celebrates with you when something great happens in your family too. When your family changes, God is with you. This is God's promise to us, and it's a promise that never changes. Now, this doesn't necessarily mean that our situation miraculously gets better. It doesn't mean that we'll suddenly be out of the water and have no problems at all. But it does mean that God is there to give us what we need to make it through the change. Let's look at another passage from Isaiah just to show you what I mean. Don't panic. I'm with you. There's no need to fear, for I'm your God. I'll give you strength. I'll help you. I'll hold you steady. Keep a firm grip on you. Because of God, we don't have to go through change with fear. And sure, we may feel anxious, we may feel afraid or even overwhelmed. I know I have in just about any change, and that's normal. I want you to know that is normal and it's okay. But God promises us to not just be with us in the change, but to give us what we need to get through the change, to give us strength and courage and help, and to give us comfort and stability, and to love us and to never let that change. And I don't know about you, but I find that so comforting. I love reading the Bible because it shows me I'm not alone in feeling all those things. And when everything around us changes, we have access to a God that never changes and will never leave us. Remember, when your family changes, God is with you. So whether it's a good change or a not so good change, the fact is that it's gonna happen. Change is usually something that we can't control, but what we can control is how we respond to it and handle the change that comes our way. So, where do we start? First, focus on what's good right now. Even if it's only one small thing, focus on the good that's happening in the middle of the change. Listen, what I shared with you about my first heartbreak and that puppy Joy, I'm gonna be honest with you, even in that moment, I don't think fourth grade me knew what was good in the midst of my heartbreak. But looking back, feeling like my parents weren't there for me has just been a great opportunity for me to experience that God is always there for me. And looking back, I can see how God used that change to bring that type of good into my life now. And I believe that the same thing can be true for you or for whatever change you're facing in your family right now. So whatever change you are facing, try to find something good. And for some of you, this will be super easy. The change you're experiencing in your family honestly might be great. And for you, I encourage you to really focus on the good that's happening and just thank God for being present with you just during this change. But I know, I recognize that some of you, this may be hard to do. You might feel like it's impossible to even find the tiny amount of good in your family situation, kind of like me. That's completely understandable. You know, I actually think it's really normal to feel that way about a really painful change. So maybe for you, the good is simply to know God is with you. And just start there, and then consider opening up to your group leader about what you're going through in your family. For me, my group leaders did become my family, and that's exactly what your group leader is. They're a part of your family at church. They're a person that God actually did put in your life so that you don't have to go through change alone. They're here to listen, to support you, to help you find good, healthy next steps in just whatever you are dealing with. And second, I want you to think about the rest of your family, okay? I'm gonna say that again. I want you to think about the rest of your family. A change in your family, it doesn't just impact you. It impacts the rest of the people in your family too. So try to think about how you can talk to and maybe just support and love your family through the changes you all are facing. Sometimes the best way to face difficult change in your family is simply by doing it together. Remember, when your family changes, God is with you.